On the heels of a very bad season and a really long year, the 49ers continue to get good news. A bunch more good news today. I'm going to get into all of that right now. Hit subscribe if you're looking for daily 49ers content. Very much appreciate all of you for hitting that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell, liking videos, commenting. Appreciate all of you for all of that. But let's jump straight into it. Let's not waste any time. I asked you guys what you think the 49ers' first 4 games are going to come out to look like. Like, how are the 49ers going to fare in the first 4 games of the season? Obviously, a lot of details surrounding these 4 games. I put it all out in a poll. We talked about, like, just in short, like, each of these 4 teams are teams that I would say are who knows which team shows up scenarios. Because the Seahawks, we don't really know how Sam Darnold's going to do in this offense. We don't really know if Kubiak can really be an offensive coordinator yet. We still have a little bit to see on that one in terms of him all by his lonesome out there. So we'll wait to see on that one, of course. Then on the New Orleans Saints, who's the quarterback going to be? Is it going to be Jameis Winston? That's what the latest reports are. You know, they don't really have a legit starting quarterback right now, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Then on the Cardinals continue to like show up in things like good drafts and things like that, but then they're the Cardinals. Like, are they actually going to be a good team for once? And then, of course, the Jaguars. Like, is Trevor Lawrence actually even a good quarterback? Is he really? I don't know. I asked you guys what you think the record coming out of the first 4 games of the season is, and the majority of you selected 61% of you. 4-0, the 49ers will win out in those first 4 games, 2 on the road, 2 at home. I'll take that. 28% of you said 3-1. 3% of you are listening to Grant Cohen too much. That's what I think. Okay, some comments out there that just to throw out there, and then we'll get to the latest good news. But tough to say. Looking at the entire schedule, the games against the Seahawks, Cardinals, and Rams are a toss-up, and we play each of them twice, and depending on which Houston team turns up, they could be trouble as well. Kind of looking at the schedule overall here. Thanks, Sean Bowen, for the comment. Appreciate the take. And it's something that I always struggle with division games is because going into the season, teams can often look a lot better than they actually end up showing up. Like the Cardinals. Like there's been several off seasons where I've thought going into the season, this team is going to be really difficult to beat. And then there have been a lot of seasons where that has not been the case. So anyway, that's an interesting one there. I appreciate the comment, appreciate the take, and I agree with you. I think Seahawks, it is so hard to tell what kind of Seahawks we're going to have this year. We could have a very formidable opponent. The Rams, on paper, should be even better than they were last year, a difficult opponent. But then there's a lot of things that make me doubt. Like Stafford's overall up and down play last season. Like, is he starting to decline? We don't know. This other take from Mr. Simba here. 13-4, NFC West champs, NFC Championship game, Super Bowl 60, quest for 6, mission complete. Kyle John, don't screw this up. I wouldn't say it's that much of a silver platter, but it is a really good situation for the 49ers. Talking about the schedule, we'll get into that as we get into the follow-ups from yesterday's video. Just in the latest, and there's more other good stuff, so if you already know about all of the scheduling stuff, you can skip by double tapping on the right side of your screen here and moving on to the next portion of the video. But there was a lot of stuff that I didn't cover during our video yesterday on schedules because it hadn't come out yet, and so I just wanted to get a quick up-to-date catch-up on that one. What a difference a year makes. The 49ers have 31 more days, a full month more of relative rest in their 2025 schedule than they did in the hellish 2024 one. So, of course, the 49ers last year had a horrible rest differential. This year, it's looking like +9. Obviously, there's those to-be-determined games at the very end of the season. We don't exactly know how it's going to play out, but assuming those are all Sundays, it works out that way. 49ers have the worst strength of schedule based on last year's record. They had... worst strength of schedule is a good thing. Sorry, I was like, wait a second. What, did I misread that? They have a +9 rest differential over their opponents, which is 3rd best in the National Football League. The only 4 games versus playoff teams from the last season. They have a young defense, but fully expecting playoffs in 2025. Agree. The 49ers strength of schedule is .415, is the easiest for any team since the 2015 Falcons. None of their final 7 games are against 2024 playoff teams. This is all good stuff, guys. The 49ers have the NFL easiest strength of schedule. They play no teams coming off a bye or mini bye That would be the Thursday Night Football mini bye. They have a positive rest differential that would have ranked top 4 last season. Ranks top 4 this season too, speaking of that. By the way, when you look at it, okay, so you got the Detroit Lions up there at the very top with rest differential. The 49ers and the Lions come off of a season where they had the worst, league-leading worst injury situations, bar none, okay? And then you look at this net rest, and it looks like the NFL saw what happened and said, hey, we gotta fix this, because these are two really big franchises. Detroit, of course, coming back to fruition these last few years, gaining a lot of national excitement, and it looks like the NFL wanted to take care of these teams and make sure they don't have as bad of a rest situation. And you look at the Detroit Lions schedule; they have one of the worst schedules in the NFL. Obviously, that comes from the division they're in the NFC North, but in part at least. But they have a really tough schedule, and they could use those rest days. The 49ers not too far behind them. I'll take it. The Rams are a step ahead of the 49ers, but do have some more difficult games than we do. They have the Lions. They have the Eagles. Who am I missing? There's another tough game in there that they're going to have to figure out. So the 49ers overall schedule is still significantly better, even with the rest differential being slightly in their favor, let's say one rest day. 49ers are back in the playoffs in 2025. Here's Brad Graham's floor, median, and ceiling. Let me know what you think about this. His floor is 10-7. That is my kind of floor. Are you kidding me? That feels like the floor that I set last year at the beginning of the season before everything completely destroyed. Median 13-4, ceiling 15-2. So if you're setting the floor at 10-7 and you're ceiling at 15-2, I am incredibly comfortable with the floor being at like 9-8 and the ceiling being at 15-2. I'm comfortable with that. 10-7 should be the floor. Like, if you're the Niners, you're going into this saying, we better not lose more than 7 games. We should not. Looking at this schedule, looking at the setup for the playoff run, like, we better not lose more than 7 games. That would be a real problem. Yeah, I think the floor is great. It's realistic. Like I said, I set my floor a little bit lower, but that's just what I'm saying. What I'm comfortable with doesn't mean what I think it should be. So I'm excited about that. And by the way, we are going to set, I am working on putting together my actual numbers and projection for the season. I know that it's early and we don't know everything, and that will change throughout the season, of course. But right now I'm doing 4 games, then 4 games, then 4 games, then 5, right? I was like, wait a second, how many of these do I have to do? So 4 games, 5 each of the next few days, and kind of working through them one at a time. So we'll come back to that later in the week or over the weekend. But if you didn't see this, the 49ers have agreed to first-round pick Mykel Williams to his fully guaranteed 4-year, $25 million deal. No surprises that the deal got done, of course. You expect these deals to get done, but it's always nice when it does get completed. And one other awesome thing I wanted to talk about today. There was this great article came out by Matt Mayoko on why Connor Colby was identified as a good fit for the 49ers blocking scheme. And it's just chock full of good stuff, you guys. This is prime good news stuff you want to hear this time of the season as we're digging into all of these different draft picks. But it finally lined up in the 7th round for General Manager John Lynch to select an actual offensive lineman, Connor Colby, with the 249th overall selection. We think he's a really good scheme fit. The great thing about Iowa is they run a very similar system. They run a lot of outside zones, so you can see a guy like him do things that we do, and he does them well. Okay, nice little positive start. It figures to be a relatively simple adjustment for Colby to fulfill the requirements of the 49ers blocking scheme. This is what he said. There are a lot of parallels, but there is a lot of stuff I need to get better on to provide value to this team in whatever way I can. Okay, still feeling good, but not really seeing the full picture here. Then Lynch suggested that the 49ers would have taken an offensive player if Georgia defensive end Mykel Williams were not available at number 11. The 49ers expected New Orleans Saints to select Williams at number 9. Perhaps the 49ers would have taken Texas offensive lineman Kelvin Banks, whom the Saints drafted. In the second round, the 49ers went with Texas defensive tackle Alfred Collins. The team had him rated ahead of the Minnesota tackle Ursery, whom Houston selected 5 spots later. In the third round, the 49ers selected nickelback Upton Stout and number 100 overall after Las Vegas took offensive lineman Caleb Roberts and Charles Grant back-to-back at numbers 98 and 99. Of course, the questions about if the 49ers got sniped in those scenarios, well, not the first round, but you get what I'm saying, were these players the 49ers were going to go after? There's definitely been some hinting that that's the case, but stick with me for a second here. The 49ers filled some spots on the offensive line to round out their 90-man offseason roster after the draft. The team signed undrafted rookie Drew Moss at Colorado State. The 49ers also added 2 veteran free agent offensive linemen, Andre Dillard and Nicholas Petit-Frere. Although it widely reported 2 weeks ago that the 49ers also added veteran offensive tackle DJ Humphries, multiple sources told NBC Sports Bay Area that no agreement has yet been reached. So that's an interesting one because DJ Humphries' agent himself is the one who announced that. So when you wrap all this up, something that I think I was waiting for it to show up and I forgot it was earlier in, which was just what Connor Colby had talked about. Let me pull that back up here. A lot of parallels. There's a lot of stuff I need to get better on to provide the value team wherever I can. Did I miss it? Where is it? Hold on. Maybe it's the first one, and I just missed it again. I think I remember they run a lot of outside zones, so you can see a guy like him do things that we do that tells him to do well. You know what? I had a screenshot in here, and I must have missed it. Just talking about his time. Yeah, his times as at right tackle. As well as, his time at right tackle as well as inside. He has inside as a left guard, so he has experience in both, and it just fits into what the 49ers are always looking for, it seems to me, with offensive linemen. We see the same thing last year with Dominic Puni. He's a guy who has a lot of experience at a lot of different positions on the line. Puni basically played all 4 positions except for center in college football, so he has the experience across the board. He comes in as an athlete, and look what they did again. They signed Connor Colby, and they sign a guy who has experience both inside and outside, and he's an athlete. Look at this. Connor Colby was drafted in round 7, picked 249 in the 2025 NFL draft class. He scored a 9.5 RAS out of a possible 10. That's crazy, that relative athletic score. This ranked 87 out of 1,730 guards from 1987 to 2025. He ranked 87 as a 7th round draft pick, ranked 87 out of 1,730 offensive guards from 1987 to 2025. That is a blistering relative athletic score for a 7th round draft pick. That's incredible. And the 49ers get a guy that fits what they're looking for. They're looking for a guy who's a scheme fit, who is flexible, versatile, at least from a college perspective, flexible, versatile, and comes in as an athlete. And that is exactly what I told you that scouts were saying about Dominic Puni a year ago, right? Like almost exactly a year ago, maybe exactly a year ago. So I'm really excited about this kid. Obviously, you got Drew Moss, who also came in from Colorado State. You have a couple undrafteds that came in, or a couple of free agents that came in as well. So we'll see how it all rounds out. It's just the 90-man, so there's a lot of guys, obviously, who have to leave. But I'm excited about what the 49ers have done so far. And yes, it would have been ideal in some respects to get an offensive lineman early on when you have big talent on the board, but not at the expense of Mykel Williams, not at the expense of Alfred Collins by the time it came down to it, because you're hoping these are going to be 2 very big impact players for you in the future. So I love the move. I love the planning. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Connor Colby pick. If you feel like the 49ers blew it and not going after these offensive linemen earlier in the draft, they, of course, could have done that. They did not. And we are 12 days away from OTAs, from phase 2. It's coming.